Chapter 120. Plum blossoms will cover the sky someday. He was larger than expected. Wei Soheng knew that Mount Hua's divine dragon was very young, but he seemed larger than anticipated. But he wasn't too tall. Overall, he seemed very solid, and he's handsome. Pretty decent. With a well-balanced body that harmonized with his appearance, anyone would nod in approval of his looks, except for that expression of annoyance and disappointment that he wore. Why is it so dusty? Didn't you cause that? Why did you do it if you were just going to get annoyed by it? Chongmyung wore a faded uniform and brushed his robe to shake off the dust. He then looked at Yoonjung with a sour expression. Is it today? No. Huh? It isn't today? There were 3 days left. Then why? Sect leader was looking for you. Sect leader is always so kind to me. He even released me from closed training early. Sayoung, you shouldn't do this training. I've been eating those fasting pills for 3 months and I feel like they've started sprouting in my stomach. No, it seems like something's come up. Huh? What happened? Chongmyung tilted his head and turned to look at Wei Soheng. Who is he? Wei Soheng from the Hua Sect. Hua Sect? You know about it? How would I know anything? After saying that, Chongmyung looked at Wei Soheng. The Hua Sect? There was a Hua Sect in the past too. I thought that with Mount Hua being ruined, those places would have collapsed as well. The rise and fall of a subsect depended on the main sect. Since Mount Hua fell, they must have had a hard time even raising their signboard and accepting disciples. It was surprising that they still existed. The Hua Sect is a subsect of Mount Hua. Oh really? But why are you here? Let's go see the sect leader and hear from him. Well, sure. When they were talking, Wei Soheng looked at Chongmyung with wide eyes. After a while, he looked at Yoonjung and asked, is this... No, this person is... I'm Chongmyung. Oh, yes. I thought so. What? This bastard... No, this person? This man here? Wei Soheng seemed flustered. When he saw Yoonjung, he sensed a deep presence that belonged to Mount Hua. Didn't it feel like what a true master should be? To see a man whose entire body seemed to exude the aura of a true Taoist. Wasn't the depth of his character what it meant to be a disciple here? But this other person... He seems like a back alley thug. Without Yoonjung around, Wei Soheng felt like he would be caught by his neck and dragged into the cave. He carefully guarded his belongings as he was worried that they would be stolen. Stimulated by sad memories from his childhood, Wei Soheng looked at Chongmyung hesitantly. What? Were the rumors wrong? This person didn't seem like someone who could destroy the Jongnam sect's disciples and defeat Jin Gomryung. For now, wash up and then come to see the sect leader. Why? Please. Fine. I'll be back after washing up then. As Chongmyung walked away, Wei Soheng quickly asked Yoonjung. He's Mount Hua's divine dragon? I don't know about any dragon, but if you're talking about Chongmyung, that's him. Really? Young warrior. Yes? Don't act so surprised. There's still a lot to come. Wei Soheng couldn't bring himself to ask what more was left. Fear was already gripping him. So, having tidied his appearance, Chongmyung sat in front of the sect leader and frowned. It wasn't enough for the Wudang subsect bastards to attack our subsect bastards, so they called for a bitch from the main sect? You're a Taoist too. Why are you calling them a bitch? Do you know what you're saying? But Chongmyung didn't even listen to Yoonjung. So they asked for help. Chongmyung nodded, and a serious light flashed in his eyes. Sect leader. Don't worry about it. This disciple will go, clean up the mess and return. Everyone present flinched when they heard those words. Chongmyung spent the last 3 months training without even seeing the light of day. How could he suddenly say something so trustworthy? But even if everyone else was deceived, Yoonjung wasn't. And how are you going to clean this mess up? What do you mean how? I'm going to run to Nanyang or whatever, and then... Was it Jongnam Hall? It's the Jongdo Hall. Ah, right. We can crack their skulls and kick down the Wudang as well. That should be enough. Then, I'll set fire to the training hall so they can never set foot in Nanyang again. It'll be super efficient. That's a Taoist training hall, you idiot. Do Taoist sects not burn? They definitely burn. Every building in this world is equal before a glorious inferno. Even Mount Hua is equal. Why are you bringing up Mount Hua? Why? We might also burn. Don't you think so? Hyunjong smiled with a happy face and then looked at Eungom, who was sitting next to him, and asked, "Can we really send him?" "I think we need to reconsider. How can a person grow older without ever changing?" It wasn't easy to be consistent like Chongmyung. Yoonjong pulled at Chongmyung's clothes. "Calm down, please." "Huh? But I am calm." Chongmyung blinked his eyes. "You said that the Hwayong sect is the only place that kept paying Mount Hua a lot of money, right? It's not just a subsect that gave us money. It's a subsect of our sect. Surely it gave money, but the main branch is supposed to protect the children that pay their bills properly. Otherwise, who would pay to follow us?" "Right, money is involved." Hyunjong clapped, and when everyone's eyes fell on him, he coughed lightly and lowered his hands. Chongmyung continued to speak. "Weren't they the ones that started the fight? Then we need to accept it. Leave it to me. I'll go and break their heads." Hyunjong smiled and said, "Chongmyung." "Yes, sect leader." "You shouldn't break any heads." "What about their waists?" "I mean that you shouldn't seriously injure or cripple anyone." Hyunjong sighed deeply before looking at Chongmyung and thinking to himself, "Is it really fine to let this brat go?" However, regardless of any concerns, it was impossible to exclude Chongmyung from this situation. Aside from his personality, Chongmyung is the one person that can definitely resolve the problem. "Anyway, that's the current situation, so you should go." "Don't worry, I'll clean it up and come back. Shall we leave now?" "A few more children will go with you. Start your journey tomorrow or the day after." "Won't it take too long to arrive?" "We need to investigate a bit more into this matter. There are a few things that are bothering me, so be mindful of that, okay?" "Yes." Whether they departed tomorrow or the day after, the only thing Chongmyung was worrying about was that he couldn't beat the Wudang sect bastards until after he arrived. "Right. You must have gone through a lot during your closed-door training. Get some rest and recover." "I understand, sect leader." "Right. Go. We'll decide which disciples will journey with you and inform you later." "Yes, of course." Hyunjong suddenly called out as Chongmyung was about to head outside. "Chongmyung." "Yes." Chongmyung turned his head and Hyunjong looked at him carefully before asking, "Has your training yielded any results?" Chongmyung chuckled. "The Wudang bastards will experience it with their bodies." "Ah, I see." Chongmyung then bowed and left. "Yoonjong, please show Wei Soeng his accommodations. I'm sure he must be hungry as well, so get him something to eat." "Yes, sect leader. I'll make sure he doesn't feel inconvenienced." Hyunjong had a subtle expression as Yoonjong and Wei Soeng walked outside. "Hyunsang." "Yes, sect leader Sahyong." "I don't know if I'm just saying this because I'm getting old, but do you think it's a coincidence that the Wudang subsect came to Nanyang, where we haven't had any problems in ages, and suddenly picked a fight with our Hwayong sect?" Hyunsang didn't respond. This could have happened by chance, but the more they thought about it, the more it felt like it was some sort of scheme. "I'm not sure if sending Chongmyung is the correct choice, if that's what they're after." "That can't be, sect leader." Unam shook his head. "It's a bit much to think that they'd be scheming to ensnare Chongmyung by picking this fight. Aren't they the Wudang sect? They don't need to pick a fight with Mount Hua. They have nothing to gain here. Why would such a great sect focus their efforts on such a small area like Nanyang?" "Well," Hyunjong sighed. However, a deep worry inside his heart didn't let him agree with Unam's words. "Since the last conference, Chongmyung's name has spread rapidly. Now, he stands at the head of any discussion concerning the top geniuses in the world." "Right. Mount Hua's Divine Dragon is too grand a title, too exaggerated. The Wudang sect may not care about the petty benefits in Nanyang, but they're a sect that cannot tolerate when another sect's disciples overshadow their own. Maybe. It was then. So what? Huh? Eungum smiled and spoke. Sect leader, do you know what the children of Mount Hua call Chongmyeong? Does he have some nickname? Mount Hua's Mad Dog. That's a bit. Eunam, who had been silently listening, gulped. Mad Dog is a bit too much. Maybe we should go with Savage Hound. That's still a dog. No, why is no one moving away from the dog? First it was Mad Dog, and now it's become a Savage Hound. Eungum smiled. For the past 2 years, our children have been working really hard. Now, whether it be the Wudang sect or the Shaolin, they cannot ignore our children. Yes. Well, that is true. Everyone here understood just how much the second and third class disciples had accomplished over the past 2 years. To be honest, it was mostly Chongmyeong that taught the others rather than Eungum. Among them, that guy is. Eungum scratched his head with a face that showed how he struggled to find the words to explain Chongmyeong's growth. Well, anyway, those who dare to challenge Mount Hua's Divine Dragon will understand why he has that name. Divine Dragon? No, Mad Dog. It shouldn't be like this, but it was difficult not to sympathize with that nickname. Send Baekchun and Yoonjung with him. If those two are there, they should be able to stop him when he begins to act up. Really? Out of everyone, they have the best odds. Then why don't we send Yu Yi-sol too? She might be able to restrain him a little. Wasn't that too obvious? Sect leader. Hyun-young began to speak his mind. Sending the children isn't everything. Sending the children means that Mount Hua is stepping out into the world, and that means that a lot of work will come our way. Yes. Hyun-jung nodded and said, Listen. Yes, sect leader. If our main mountain is the face of Mount Hua, then the subsects are like the hands and feet of Mount Hua. The Hwayong sect has made a great contribution to us till now. We must do everything we can to support them. We must let the world know that Mount Hua will not abandon our own. We will remember your words, sect leader. Seeing the others bow their heads in unison, Hyun-jung's face was filled with determination. 2 years is not a short period of time. Now was the time to announce to the world that Mount Hua's image had changed.